What's up, everybody? Oh, Lord, my mic's a little too loud. I can see the levels jumping. Happy Saturday. Hope everything's going good. Hello, humans. Welcome back. I wasn't planning on streaming today, but I had this topic or article pop up in my feed about something getting passed in Texas. Let me read it real fast. Yeah, it says Texas literary works rules says that list works shall be included in instructions and that the required works are minimum text students must read by grade level. Very, very interesting. And obviously this is the Bible. And I gotta say, we are officially regressing into a time that I don't even think believers want. And that's something that I was like, you know what? Let's get this conversation today because maybe this is a point where everybody will agree. I would assume there's a lot of believers out there that also do not want religions in schools. If that starts happening, it's literally just going to be whichever group's in charge, which is going to put whatever religions should be in school. And then when do we stop? When do we stop? Right. And yeah. Now I'm curious if this is supposed to be taught as like history, or is this supposed to be taught as like a truth? So let me know what information you have on any of this. But I thought it was interesting subject to talk about for a little bit. But I do think this is one of those grounds where believers and non-believers usually kind of agree with each other. Now you have people like Kent Hovind that, well, no, I think actually he's a psycho, but all right, I'm not a clinical, I can't diagnose him as a psycho, but he seems pretty out of there to me. And actually, he even says that uh, he doesn't want the Bible taught in schools. His weird thing is he doesn't want evolution taught in schools. Evolution's not a religion, so I don't think any religion should be taught in school besides it being just some historical in history class or social science. Is it social? I don't even know if it would be social sciences. So, but anyways, thought this would be interesting. I don't expect to stream long, to be honest, unless this is interesting to other people and then they want to come and talk. But just thought it'd be quick chat, 40 minutes. If I go longer than that, it's just going to be up to you guys, depending on if people want to chat about this. And I did go to like my first year of high school, and then I went to a private school for the rest of my high school. So I was taught Bible things, and I thought it was strange coming from a public school and going to a private high school and having teachers that it was really weird, very interesting, very weird. Even though I was a believer back then, it still was weird to be in school and everything that we were being taught getting tied into the Bible in ways that, if you're smart enough, they aren't tied to the Bible, right? So it was very interesting on how you got to start seeing the first kind of apologetics going on, where my science teacher would still have to be teaching uh, what modern science alongside her biblical science beliefs. So it's very weird because as I go back and I remember, she would always throw subtle hints or subtle sarcasm at certain things that were obviously proven. So very interesting. What's the purpose of school? To educate, right? I think our school system's horrible, by the way. I don't think adding in Bible, whatever, would help at all. We have to redo our school system completely, and I think that's a thing. For some reason, we're not willing to put money behind. Like I would imagine how much further we would be in a society if we put just a small percentage of the money we put into weapons or into Super Bowls or Grammy events. I could just imagine if a tiny fraction of that money went to our education system, what could happen here. But for whatever reason, uh, I'm not going to say the they statement, but we are the they. We vote for these people, and we, I'll say we for some reason do not want investments in our education system. So I try to be fair as possible with these critiques because it's hard to just say they. If they is the government and you vote for the government, it's kind of a we thing. So it was my private school was pretty weird. Like I said, it's like you go to one class, it's straight the world, right? you're in the world, because some classes you can't avoid it. It just is what it is. And then you go to another class where they're kind of teaching you scripture and stuff that's totally opposite of what you just learned in one class. So it's it was interesting, I could say that, but it is interesting, man. I think I spoke about this before, but I also don't even think I don't even think parents should be teaching their children religion. That's probably a hot take, though. Yeah, I'm in the camp of that. It's probably is some form of child abuse. Most religions, well, not even. I'm even getting to the point, and we told our kids really early. But should you? It's weird because I like the fun of Christmas and those kind of things, but it can still be fun, and you don't have to lie to your child. The fact that we have this culture over here, at least, that you lie to your children and then make it into some kind of fun game that you're lying, but you're like really lying, by the way. It's not like a board game, you know, those games where you have to find out if somebody's lying. Everybody knows somebody is lying. It's this game where you're literally lying, like really trying to deceive a child all the way up to an age where you just can't deceive them anymore or are tired of deceiving them anymore. And that's really interesting when you really think about that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not having any more kids, so I kind of think about what what I would want my grandkids to deal with. Would I play along? And I'm thinking about that at the moment. Like, wait, would I play along now? I don't think this is cool. Is it like, hey, don't send your kids to my house because I will tell them that Santa Claus is a fucking lie or something? I won't say it like that, but so it's interesting because I also think you can still have Christmas and all these other holidays, and just like any other holiday that you know, like Halloween, right? I mean, there are some families that celebrate Halloween in a very serious way, but for the most part, we look at Halloween as just it's just a silly joke. You go have fun. Why with Christmas do we add on like two fake things, by the way? Two, well, one of them we know is fake. One of them, it's probably fake. So, and I guess you can kind of guess those two. You don't have to, I don't have to tell you what are the two fake things about Christmas. Yeah, I mean, I figured you had a bigger question behind the what school's supposed to be taught. So, school to me, here's how school works. The actual purpose for school is only to educate. Now, what's good about school also is the social part that is just ingrained into when you put a groups of people together. The school, to me, should not be purposely affecting the social part of it, right? Like the social part is just the social part. That is like that is your citizens of the country, right? The government has a job to make sure it's protecting the citizens of the country, not necessarily effing with too much of the social part and less parts of one social side versus another social side is harming the other one. That's when the government steps in because their whole purpose is to mitigate harm. So the school system to me is just a smaller version of that, to where the school itself is a part of the bigger organization, the school district, and then that grows, whatever. But the whole point is, hey, protect these kids so they can be educated and learn the social environment that's involved with that system. So, yeah, if I said that right. Yeah. So I mean, I'm saying I agree. Like we shouldn't be adding in opinions about the social system too much, unless it's about somebody harming another person. So that's the line, right? You have free will all the way up to harming somebody else. That's how I feel about it. So that's the government's job, is to keep that bubble that I wish God had created, by the way. I think I spoke about this with people before. God could have had the free will that we have right now and then made it so I literally never can harm somebody else. Because the thing about free will, as soon as I'm able to harm you, you free will just doesn't exist at that point then. Like free will is just some made up shit, because if I'm able to harm you, you don't have the free will to do anything, or you don't have the free will to like not get hurt if I shoot you. Anyways, that's going on more on the God subject. I apologize. I didn't get a good God argument in yesterday, so it's why I think if there's some creator, then free will doesn't exist. I'm already on the edge, not even on the edge. I'm on the side of free will is probably an illusion. But whether it's illusion or not, it doesn't matter, because if you feel like you have free will, like that's all that, it doesn't really matter. I mean, that's a little different subject, but I am of the, I guess you would call me a extremist of, I don't, if you're a true Christian, I don't think you should have money. And I know a lot of Christians are weird on that, but if you really believe in Christianity, I don't think you would care about this world at all, right? Like, and most Christians would say they're New Testament people, and in the New Testament, it if it does talk about having any kind of wealth at all, it talks about it in a bad way. So yeah, if you're a Christian, like a real Christian, I don't think you should have a nice home. You shouldn't have nice cars. You shouldn't have nice things, because your whole purpose should be to just be a servant to other people and spread God's word. But I know every single Christian's gonna say that ain't true. And that's a hot take as well. But I don't think a real Christian is caring about having a job and stuff like that. But that's another subject. Do you still need to pay the? Yeah, I mean, all I'm saying is, uh, Jesus really wasn't talking about having your job, being wealthy. He asked that anybody that followed him would give up everything. And Christians act like that verse doesn't exist because they want a job just like me. They want money just like me. They want to eat just like me. They want to have fun just like me. And like I said, that's what I struggled with a lot when I was in just full belief is I never understood why my family cared about money, cared about sports. Uh, and it was a real struggle for me, like very, very hard struggle. And I talk about that a lot to people where it's just like I was good in sports, never was as good as I could be because I believed this thing. And I would always look at everybody like, why do you guys care? Jesus is coming. Let's just go spread the word of God. Who cares about if I make this last shot in a game? Who cares about if I practice? Uh, so many things, man. Because that's what the book tells you, by the way. Uh, the book literally tells you these things. Anybody that says otherwise is not reading the book. So I was just looking at everybody like, okay, you guys are saying that we're supposed to be these true believers, yet we care if we go to the championship. Of course, Jesus was being metaphorical, right? That's what I'm saying. No, Jesus was not being metaphorical. Jesus was not being metaphorical. The end was near, and I don't know. If you want to talk about that, you can call in. But if you think Jesus was being metaphorical, you're coping. I'm sorry, that's a cope. Jesus was not being metaphorical. Jesus said the end of the world was coming. Uh, he came with a sword. Like there's so many things. Jesus was not being metaphorical. He's only metaphorical because we need Jesus to be metaphorical in order for it to still make sense in our society. So yeah, I would love to talk about that if somebody wants to step up and talk about that. I totally disagree with that take. Oh, okay. You're just messing with me. Yeah, okay. That's fine too. But I just like, yeah, I would love somebody that actually believed that because I've always argued that with Christians, non-Christians, anybody that's Christian that are Muslims. I've always said that uh, the believers of the Abrahamic religion would not have wealth if they really believed in that religion. I don't. I probably would never meet somebody that I really felt followed the religion because they would probably be like some nomad, just walking across the earth, preaching the word, only eating where they were offered food, like Jesus taught. Right? God will provide. Um, I don't. The percentage of Christians that are like that, I don't know if there's a lot of them in the United States. Now, I know Christians hate hearing that because every Christian thinks they're a real Christian, but no, no. You're welcome to come and talk to me of how you're a real Christian, though. Now, you will most likely everything you describe will be a modern Christian, uh, but you probably aren't what Jesus preached. Yeah, I mean, there's many ways of doing Christianity. You're right, but I'm saying at the most basic level, Most Christians will say they follow Jesus Christ. So I'm going to even take away the Old Testament, and we're not going to talk about the Old Testament because nobody likes talking about it. We are just going to talk about Jesus' teachings. Where in Jesus' teachings does he tell you to have a nice house, to have a nice car, to have all of those things? Where does Jesus teach you to do that? Let me know. Where does Jesus teach you to go after that promotion at your software job or at wherever? Just saying, man. Hey, you know me, guys. I'm gonna talk honestly about this shit. We're gonna talk honest. I'm gonna be fair when it needs to be fair. Actually, I'm just gonna be fair, period. And sometimes fairness is just calling out shit for what it is. All I'm saying is real Christian would be broke and spreading the word of God, not worrying about anything because God will provide. Unless you don't believe that God really will provide, by the way. And some people say you have to work for it, but I got a verse for you. When Moses got in trouble, Moses got in trouble for striking the rock. Remember, Moses wanted to do some work. He wasn't supposed to do any work. He was supposed to let God provide. He wasn't supposed to do extra work. So you're supposed to just be in the right spot at the right time and not do anything. That's what you're supposed to do. Do we have anybody that wants to defend the Bible in schools? Who wants to make me do a long stream? Because at the moment this will not be a long stream. I was like, I think most people would just agree with this, whether you're a Christian, Muslim, uh, what's Hinduism? I don't know what that's called. Buddhist, whether you're any of that, I think most people are like, nope, church and school is a bad idea. Matthew 9. Oh, we got a verse. Let's put it up. I like to put our verses up. Thank you for the verse. Let me erase this stuff. We got Matthew 19:21. All right, let me see. We will pull up Matthew 19:21. Anyways, you guys let me know how your day's going. How's your weekend? Any exciting news for anybody? I wish churches were honest. Here's my perfect church. So I'm okay with churches, by the way. But the only thing I don't like about churches and why I refuse to go to any, is because what really should be going on is there should be a meeting where you have this person on stage saying that they know the truth and they're sharing what they think the truth is. And the people in the audience, which would be the congregation, should be allowed to challenge what the person on the stage is saying. That's how church should be. And of course, they would never do that. Let's not use KJV anymore. But y'all, let me know what y'all think about my church idea. My church idea. And I think that should be like that for anyone that's saying they know the truth, right? They should have to go on stage and be questioned, right? We should never have another president that gets to not do debates, right, in their primaries. We shouldn't we shouldn't allow that. You should have to go on stage and you should actually have to say what you are going to do and provide evidence on what you have to do. I'm saying that across the board. If you are making a claim that you know the way, it needs to be put to the test. Matthew 19:21. All right, here we go. Oh man, definitely sorry to hear that, brother. No words can be said on that one. None at all. Well, all I can say is hopefully we can provide a little bit of distraction because besides that, nothing can be said. Let's see here. Let's see if we can get some distractions going. Or do we all just agree with this? Let me put a poll. And if we all agree, we're just going to switch subjects. Shit, sounds like an easy poll since nobody's really talking about it. Yeah, that's tough, John. Um, yeah, I haven't. I mean, the last person that's the closest that died was my mom, and for a while, since I'm a little different than my family, uh, they would do like prayers and stuff about that, and I never thought that it made sense. But I got it on their end. Everybody is trying to get through crap in their own way, so I never really bugged my family about it. Did anyone go to Super Chaka? What is that? Super Chaka? Never heard of that. I did get some new Steam games, by the way. Since they have the Steam summer sale, I got Bellwright, if you guys heard of that. I got let me pull up my Steam. What did I get? Steam. Bellright. I got this game that my buddy was telling me about called Paralives. I don't know if I'm gonna. I really don't know if I'm gonna play it, but he was telling me about it, and I'm like, I'm gonna try it. Whatever, screw it. Bellright. That seems like a game. It's gonna take a minute. And also, I got Banner Lords instead of Manor Lords. I have Manor Lords, but I got Banner Lords. So I got 3 games for like $80. I gotta see my wife wants a game or something. But no, she doesn't play Steam, unfortunately. And that's what I'm gonna be start. I'm gonna play some of those games after we're done here. Are we really gonna have 2 streams in a row where nobody's defending anything? Hey, we got some people that said they say yes. Where's our 11%? If you're one of the 11%, hop onto the stage. Let's have a chat. I'm curious to why you think the Bible should be taught in schools. Let's discuss it. Also, you guys, don't forget to click your buttons. YouTube likes when you click your buttons. Get it? YouTube likes when you click your buttons. What's a terrible game? Uh, Thanks for clicking. Which game are we talking about? Bellright or Paralives? I've been trying to find a simulation game. I was on Jesus. I would play the Jesus Christ game. They need to make one. I think there was one in development. I don't know if it's still in development, by the way, but there was one in development, and I would play it. 100%, I play it. I just want them to make it good, by the way. I want them to make it like a Matrix type of game, like where you get powers and stuff, and you get to move back. That was stupid. Sorry. That was stupid. But I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But all right, I'm being stupid. Just being silly. We got 17% that say the Bible should be in school. All right, somebody has to come talk to me then. Exclamation point Discord. Hop into the chat. 15% now. Come on. Who wants to come talk about this? Come convince me that the Bible deserves to be in schools. You turned water into wine. It took a year. Good job, man. Do you have your own dispensary? Wait, is it a dispensary? What's the wine one called? I said dispensary. I don't know. Could be wrong. If you guys don't notice, also, I'm standing up because I got to get back to standing up. Got a standing up desk. I haven't been using it enough. Buck. All right, Buck. Come on up, Buck, and explain why you think the Bible should be taught in schools. Okay, so there's a Jesus game on Steam. I have to look it up. All right. I mean, hell, it's already in every hotel room, right? A winery. There we go. Thank you. Oh, if you can't call, all good, bro. You've called enough. If you can't, all good. I'm just curious to hear your reasoning behind it. I agree with Weeping Spirit that yeah, I have no problem with it being taught in like the literary portion, so I can agree there. Now, if we're teaching it as history, I might have a problem there. I don't know. So it would be the same as what do we talk about when we talk about like the Iliad and stuff like that? Is that just literature? Like the stuff that we believe some of it might have happened, some of it wasn't true. Is that like literature class? Because I'm thinking whatever category those are in, like the same thing as like Greek myths, all of those. We don't even have like Mayan myths and Mesopotamia myths in there, do we? I'm thinking like classes for that. I haven't been in school forever, so maybe this is different now. But I'm thinking of classes like that have all of those entailed. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm saying, what class do you learn about those in? Because I know it doesn't go into like total depth, but I feel like I do remember hearing about Greek gods. Mrs. Buck. Let's see if the link didn't switch on me. By the way, oh, I can't spell. My bad. Oh, I can. I still can't spell. Golly. Third time. We'll get it. Social studies. Okay, so it's going to be in social studies. Got it. Yeah, I mean that's fine, right? I said maybe the question isn't. Good thing I had to write the actual link. Yeah, maybe the question isn't whether it should be in or out of school, but definitely if we're going to put it in school, there is an appropriate area for it. So, all right, I might be open now. Let's see if somebody can explain it to me on how it should be implemented. Then okay, as to me, as long as it's not telling kids like, hey, this is true, so this is why you should act that way. That's where I think I disagree. But if it's just like, hey, this is what people thought long ago, here's the history behind it, here are ancestors of those people, that's fine too. But with that, my video, yeah, yeah, my Nightbot knows how to spell. The video I just did about you would need to teach the horrible history of Christianity as well, because I didn't learn the horrible history of Christianity until I started researching myself, right? I mean, technically, Christianity is forced on you, right? But Islam's forced on you. Either believe it or you die. That's kind of force. That's a little bit of force. Little coercion. All right, we got Buck coming up. Or sorry, it's gonna be Mrs. Buck, right? I'm not gonna call you Mrs. Buck though.
Oh, it's okay. You can call me Gwen.
Gwen?
Yeah.
All right. Well, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
All right. What did you have on the topic?
All right. I think that we could solve a lot of problems if we put all of the faith-based ideas. Hold on. What are you doing? Okay. So anyway, all right. So I don't know if I'm talking or not, but I'll say if we put all of it in cultural studies, like social studies in middle school years, then we can get kids talking about their background in faith. But that will probably never be able to happen because we can't teach tolerance or to get along because the parents get in the way. Because the parents decide what their belief systems are. Therefore, they decide what their belief systems of their children should be. And they're scared that their children might see a different thing or a new idea.
All right, you faded out a little bit there, but what I think I heard, let me know if I'm wrong, is that the problem would be that the people that believe already have a certain version of their beliefs, so whatever's being taught is going to cause a problem. Is that close?
No, I don't think that we're not sending them calling it religious. I think we should be calling it cultural background.
Yeah, you're cutting out quite a bit. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Get me off it there because it won't work. So it's fine.
Hey, we'll call back here when we get better reception. We won't be too long.
Okay, that's good. Thanks, guys. Call me back.
That was frustrating as heck. I did not like that.
Why? You were.
I had to move you guys because I don't want your personal conversation to end up on there. Make sure you guys leave the Discord. I'm not trying to get clicks, so I'm not gonna have your personal conversation going either. So make sure you guys hop out of the Discord. You're muted now, but just saying. All right. I feel like that might have turned into an interesting conversation. I from what I'm hearing or what I thought I understood, I probably would agree with a little bit. But it's one of these things where I think this subject could get believers and non-believers to agree on a lot of things, because I think non-believers will be okay as long as believers aren't saying this needs to be taught as a science or, well, yeah, a science. I don't I would be surprised if any believers were saying that this can't be taught as some literary form that we know of. I would be surprised because I don't see a problem with that. Like, hey, people used to write this way, people used to think this way, and here are some of the writings, you know. But maybe I'm wrong. Mrs. Buck sounds nice. Is it Gwen, right? I'm bad with names at first, so I apologize. Okay, so that was my question. Do they not teach myths in non-college? Yeah, Gwen. Yeah. Did they not teach myth in like junior high or elementary school? I could have swore they did. I'm okay with teaching myths. I don't see a problem with teaching myths at all. Or teaching what old civilizations used to believe. Did have a video released today. You guys make sure to go check it out after we're done here, though. I want a big spike in the views after we're done here. It's a little longer video, so it's going to be hard to watch while you're watching this. All right, we're going to end this poll. I think everybody made their claim. 60 years ago, they did. Like I said, I ain't been in school for a little bit. Maybe I'll ask my kids if they teach Greek mythology or any of those things. Are those? I know maybe they don't teach it in elementary school. I think I'm more talking about junior high, where you get to start picking certain classes. Obviously, high school, where you get to start picking certain classes. Uh, Maybe that's what I mean, where they are class options, where you can go and learn those things. I'm just saying it should be with that stuff. And it should not be with that stuff just because a lot of people dislike it. It should be with those things just because it was a part or is still a part of the myth culture, right? And a myth, I know I usually don't think of myth could be true, but I don't know. There used to be myths that turned out to be true, right? I guess you don't call them myths. I don't know. Ooh, you guys are going on a little vacation to Colorado. Nice, nice. Sounds like a vacation. I don't know if it really is, but I hope you guys enjoy. And if you're watching me while you're headed to your vacation, I take that as an honor. Thank you very much. The Greeks, Romans, etc. Yeah. All I'm saying is I don't see there's a I would like to actually discuss anybody that thinks it would be a problem now because actually if as long as if it's in a certain area, I don't know if it's a problem. So now I don't know. Now I got another question. If it's taught in like that kind of arena, is it still a problem? because I don't see a problem with that. You might cause some fights though, because you're gonna have those Christian kids that are in there pissed off that they're gonna go home to mommy. Maybe this is what Gwen was saying. The Christian parents are gonna go home, or like their kids are gonna go home and they're gonna say, "Hey mom, they told me Jesus was a myth like Hercules," and then now the school's gonna get sued or whatever the case is. Ah man, I don't know. All right, possible. Let me know what you think. While we're waiting, you guys list the Steam games that you have bought during the summer sale. That's the next one. If you bought a Steam game, list it, and I'm gonna look at it because I'm trying to get games. This is the only time I buy games usually is during the Steam sale. So if you bought a Steam game, let me know. I'm gonna look it up. Like I said, I got Bellwright. How many of y'all like Crimson Desert? I didn't like it that much. I bought it though, but that was a while back. 007 I got a little while back. Yeah, for sure. You probably learn out of school more. Ever heard of Shin? Let me look it up. Shin Mega. Wait, is that a game? I'm looking it up in Steam. Is that a game? I'm gonna laugh. You're like, that's not even a game. Oh, it is a game. All right. Yeah, there's a Shin Magima Tinzi 5. Oh, it's like a turn-based. Steam game. So it's just like it's a website where you just buy games. And there's a summer sale right now, so hey, if you aren't into gaming and you ever thought about getting into gaming, now is the time. I am not sponsored by Steam at all, but just saying. Farthest Frontier. I think I heard of that one. Let me see. Farthest. Yep, there it is. Dang, 67% off. Probably gotta turn down this music so I don't get demonetized on this. I think I've heard of this one. Farthest Frontier. I have to look into it. All right, give me a moment. Gonna take a short little break. I want to give Gwen time to get to some Wi-Fi because I'm actually curious to hear what she has to say. So I'll be right back. Alrighty. Welcome back. All right. All right. We got them back right on time. Or maybe you were waiting a long time. I don't know. Welcome back.
Hold on. All right. Hey, are you there?
Yeah. We hear you. Actually, way better now.
All right.
All right. First, I didn't say Jesus was a myth. That's pretty important for me to clarify.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I do think, okay, I think the Bible should be taught in school. I think not the Bible. Okay, if you want your kids to learn religious studies, then you put your kids in a religious school. But in public school, I think that if you try to stick to an idea that, so let's just say it's evolution. If you say this is the law, we know that this is the truth, the only truth, then you're kind of setting them up to fail with the idea that all of civilization was built on many ideas and not one idea, and it doesn't, and there is no proof for any of it. There's no proof as to why we exist and why we're sentient beings and why we can build houses and have refrigerators and ovens and electricity and a cat or a dog can't. So since we cannot prove anything, we can only present ideas of things. And that's what school should be teaching, is how you process ideas and the many ideas that there are, as far as humans go. So I think that if we teach the foundations of how civilization came to be and cultures came to be, especially at an impressionable age like 14, then teaching that there's no wrong answer here, that Billy's a Muslim and Susie's a Christian and Johnny's an atheist, and all of those ideas have a foundation. And it's how our
so
culture
where would that be taught?
is built. It would have to be taught in a, I don't know. When Buck and I were talking about this, I said in like an anthropology class, but I'm kind of thinking that I like,
Culture.
right, but no, come on, you said it earlier, social studies. So,
Hmm.
I mean,
Social
when
studies.
I can tell you, it was social studies, my very first fail, believe it or not. I could care less when I was 13 years old about learning about different cultures because it wasn't relevant to what I wanted to do. I wanted to be playing with my friends and, wearing Nikes. That was what I cared about at that time. Um, so you'd have to have so here's the problem. The problem is the
So that
grown-ups
would
in the
be
room.
like that'd be
Like social
history,
studies.
literature, and cultural influence.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be a social studies class. It can't be, it certainly can't be a history class. I mean, it could be touched upon in history, which is why I'm a big proponent of homeschool now that I know a little bit more about the world as an aging woman. I definitely think that when we put boxes, or when we compartmentalize school like we do, this is history class when we're not talking about math. teach our kids that everything is relevant to everything and this is how whatever we need to learn applies here. For example, if we're teaching them to decorate the kitchen, we can teach them some math. Anyway, that here nor there. But when you talk about the history of the world, there's a reason why I just looked it up, 2.6 billion Christians, 2 billion Muslims, 1.2 billion Hindus, and 500,000 or 500 million is what it was, excuse me, Buddhist.
So are you saying because of that, like, it should be taught because of the culture part. That's what I thought you were going to, right? It influences culture so much. We should talk about it. I agree. We should talk about it.
Well, and when you look at the history of the world, the reason wars happen is because people have different ideas. Okay, and I think that it would be a different adulthood if when we were in the formative years, we talked to each other in a respectful way of what did you learn at your house? This is what I learned at my house. And this is the history of the world as we know it.
Okay.
And this is where those beliefs come from.
I got a question for you now because I think if this wasn't what you're saying, but here's the danger of what now I'm realizing what it sounded like you were saying. If I'm wrong, correct me. The last time you were cut off. The problem is with if we're talking about the Quran or the Bible, if other students are now, like, say you have your Christian kid in there and they're learning about the Old Testament history in public school. You have these other kids over here that believe that it wasn't true. And you have the Christian person that obviously believes it is true. Is it wrong for the non-believers to try to talk to the believer about, like, well, hey, bro, actually, we know that this isn't true for these reasons. Do parents now jump into that scenario? Does it cause more issues now in school? Does it cause more fights now in school? Because when we talk about Greek myths, those are easy to talk about because 0%, I'm sorry, I don't even know what percentage of people would believe it. And so, like, you can hear about like Zeus and Hercules and all those characters in middle school and then leave the class and everybody knows that it's not true. The problem with the Bible I'm seeing is that it's so ingrained into society. Like you said, you listed a lot of numbers and that's true. Now that makes it harder for hearing that Bible story in class and then being able to really truly critique it outside of class or during class like you could the other religions. Or yeah, they're all religions to me. So what's your take on that part?
I do think that the problem would be the parents or the teacher even.
Yeah, maybe the teacher too. Yes.
If you bring a bias, which the kids are going to come in with a little bit of bias, but it's the grown-ups that have the real bias. But I think the importance of teaching the discussion point. I mean, if we don't teach the kids how to have a constructive discussion about somebody else's difference of opinion and especially difference of belief system, that's the intolerant adults.
Yes, I agree.
And that's where the fighting comes in. And so I think that, so here, I guess I'm going to flip here and say that my original idea is that we should teach in schools so that we can teach the kids how to have constructive discussion, tolerance, and respect for each other, regardless of their foundational belief system. But now I'm thinking that, I mean, if you don't have the right teacher and you allow the parents to come, which, I mean, parents are allowed to have their say. That's why they vote. I mean,
Right.
at least here where we live. But but I'm but I think that in a perfect world, in utopia, we could bring our kids to the table, all have respect for each other, and teach that there's a reason why there's so many people that have a foundation in faith, and that
So
just
here,
because I don't understand your faith doesn't mean you're wrong. It
right.
just means you're different.
Well, here's the interesting thing about that. When I'm going down this uh, alternate universe with you, is the fact that this is why I'm always like this, and that's why I like talking to your husband. He doesn't. If I critique what he believes, he doesn't take offense. At least it seems that way.
No, he
And
doesn't.
yeah, and that is what I think is lacking in many people. And when I was a full believer, you couldn't offend me, by the way. I believed what I believed, and I would state my claim and state my evidence, and you could never hurt my feelings about it. But what I notice nowadays, and I don't know if it's a culture shift or what, but a lot of believers in Abrahamic religions are actually offended by questioning their belief at all. Right. And I think that would be the big problem if Christians and Muslims weren't so aggressive as the stereotype. Let's just say it's a stereotype. They're the loudest ones. So I don't think it would be an issue for these things to be taught in school. But I'm like you, I'm flipping back and forth with if this is a good idea or not because of the fact that I don't think there are many grown up Christians. And when I say grown up, meaning that they can't handle somebody saying Jesus was not God, if I can say it that way. They're like, there's a lot of adults that can't handle someone saying that to them. And now when you put that into school, kids are even worse. Right? Kids are mean as shit. Like I hate it when I'm kind of sexist in a way. When my boys went to school, I'm like, yeah, y'all get over it, go to school. But when my girls went to school, man, I was devastated. Like it was so scary to me because I'm like, oh my gosh, if anybody's mean to them, I'm gonna go destroy the school. But my point to that is like there's a lot of mean people and a lot of mean kids in school. And I think the other side would not be able to handle it at all. So now, if Jesus is being taught in class and you go out, I can imagine stories where now those kids are claiming they're getting bullied because somebody's questioning whether Jesus was real or not. That was a little long there, but that was kind of my point.
And no, I think that's valid, but that's the problem, is that we have grown into a people group that wants to fight, that I don't think it's just kids that are mean as shit. I think that people are mean as shit. I think that that's part of the argument to teach these ideas in school and to teach kids how to work through them. I mean, what we're talking about right now is just the division of spiritual belief, but there's a lot of other divisions in school. You know, you got the kids that like the red tennis shoes and the kids that like the blue tennis shoes, and they're going to go duke it out after school on the playground.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
mean, right? And that's the truth. But I think this is the opportunity where if you're teaching, well, this is part of the reason why I believe the way I believe after extensive research into all kinds of religion is because Jesus is the one who's teaching love. Okay, love your neighbor, be tolerant. If they hit you, let them hit you again. Like,
I don't know about
you
that
know,
one.
right, but I'm just saying, but but Jesus is the one that's like, don't take offense and help the person up that's on the ground
All right,
and
but
be
but
tolerant of people.
here's the thing,
So,
though. If we're going to allow Jesus to be taught, I am going to say we need all of the critiques of Jesus. So I would say if this is going to be taught, you need to hear about the people that don't believe in Jesus also, alongside with the people that say it's true. That would be the only fair way for this to be presented to children, is to be like,
sure.
hey, there's people that don't believe this crap either, and here are their reasons, right?
But here's the thing, I'm not advocating. Look, if I want my kids to learn about Jesus, then they're going to get in the Word of God, or they're going to go to somebody that I trust with that word, not school. But what I'm arguing for is that if we're going to teach something like a religious study in school, that it's taught alongside of all of the other major ideas, and that way we can teach the kids to have the real respectful discussion. I mean, I'm not saying it's easy. There have been many ideas, even in our recent history in our own country, where we were a divided people and we had to learn that that was wrong. And we have to grow up now and move on from that and get along together so that our culture can survive, because what's going on isn't okay. I mean, it's
So
not
you're more
okay.
about it's okay because of if we do it correctly, we can teach tolerance.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly the point is, if we don't teach tolerance, we're never going to evolve into a more functioning society.
Well, again, and like this is kind of circling back, the problem is there are going to be a lot of Christians that are against any opposition to that class. Let's just say it's a class. Um, any like I feel like Christians would be all for voting for, or some of them would be all for voting for a class in public schools that taught about the Bible. But as soon as there's supposed to be a class that teaches you why the Bible is wrong, they would riot.
So I don't know that that's the right wording. I don't think you should say that as soon as there's a class that says the Bible is wrong. I think the class should be, the Bible could be right, evolution could be right, the Quran could be right, Buddhism could be right.
Well, wait, hold on. Why do we
Okay.
throw evolution in there? I think that's
Well,
different.
because it's an idea. Because
I don't think evolution is an idea, though.
But all we're talking
I don't want to
about
get
here is
sidetracked. By the way, I don't want to get sidetracked, but
okay.
I will say I don't think evolution is an idea like religion at all. I just have to say that.
Okay, that's fine. I think that I think they're all ideas because nothing is provable. That's where I started. But I will say this, that hold on.
Yeah, take your time.
If, like I said, if we could use everyone's idea to have to teach the real discussion, then we'd have less people that are mean or intolerant of any kind as older when they become adults. But also, I keep losing my thought here. I'm very embarrassed to be all over the internet, but
I mean, I think you're doing fine. It's fine.
no, it's fine. I just like I said, I just think that it's so important to allow kids to have their ideas. And also, if your religion is so weak that you can't defend it,
I'm with you on that. You don't even have to finish your statement.
then maybe you should assess your faith. So I mean, it's my opinion that you're not going to turn me from what my belief is.
No, you are. You would.
And
Only you can. I believe that.
right. And so I think that if my faith is strong enough and I'm teaching my kids my faith and their faith is strong enough, it should be able to hold up in any kind of discussion group.
Okay, but what about when your kid comes home because they've been convinced otherwise? Are you now mad at the school?
Well, no, but I mean, you have to address the fact that your kid is having a crisis of faith and help them through that. Now, here's the thing. As parents, we like to think that our kids are little mini versions of us.
Mm-hmm.
But they're actually individuals that have their own brain and
What a
their own
surprise.
personality.
Yeah, what a surprise.
And,
all right. Yeah.
and so they're going to come up with stuff. And if we don't teach them how to maneuver in the world, which is, I thought, part of what school was supposed to do. I don't have that opinion now, but as a young person, I did. I think that no matter what you say, your offspring are going to grow up into be whoever they're going to be.
Well, I agree with this, but what I see,
whether they become an atheist or a Christian,
yeah, I agree.
You know, it's that's on them. And
but
I think
the problem is, like you said before,
parent,
the problem is, like you said before, Gwen, is the parents. I think children are able to handle a lot of things. Children are, in a way, are stronger than adults. The problem is when their child comes home and they have been convinced of another idea, the parents are the ones that can't handle it.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm saying this, that if I have a belief, if I believe the wall I'm looking at is green and my child comes home and says, but I learned in school that that's blue, and I can't defend my position on why I think it's green, then maybe I'm the one that needs to learn some more.
Or you're wrong, right?
Or I'm wrong.
Okay. I don't want to throw that out the table. Like, you could just be wrong. So.
But that's what beliefs, you know, they are learned things. And why you believe what you believe, whether you believe that there's 9 planets or 8, you know, you have to be able to come to a position to have that discussion with anyone, your child or your parent.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. I'm totally, anybody that knows me, I'm totally against the whole policies of never talk about religion, politics. We are taught to never talk about the things that are the most important. And I've always found out the weirdest thing. So I'm with you on that. So let me be fair to you here. You're saying that it should be okay for Texas to make this ruling and allow the Bible to be taught in schools. It just, if we're going to do that, there has to be some restrictions or parameters put in place.
I don't think that I maybe agree with the legislation. I think that it should come with not just the Bible. If the legislation says religious studies can be taught in school, and it doesn't limit those studies to the Bible. I mean, even though I'm a Christian and I believe that the Bible is the place you should go for that, but I don't think that we can legislate beliefs or the boundaries surrounding them.
Yeah, I agree. If we're gonna do one, you do them all. And it's so weird because I feel like the only people that would truly push back are the Christian ones. Because
I don't know.
say again?
I don't know. I mean, you don't think that there are atheists that wouldn't push just as hard?
Well, okay, and then maybe this is just a weird. I don't even want to say biased because I'm not even like this complete atheist either. But I feel like an atheist person has the most honest perspective as far as the only reason they have a problem is because the religious person cannot be as open-minded as maybe they are. I haven't found too many atheists that say they just would never believe in God, period. But I have found religious people that say they could never not believe in God. And I'll be honest, if I'm building a society, I would rather have the atheist person that is capable of knowing that their beliefs could be wrong.
Hmm. So I mean, I respect your position. I can't imagine from the time that I was realizing my own existence to now, and that's decades and decades, but I can't imagine not feeling some sense of my soul or spirit, if you will. I can't imagine blocking out that. So,
Do you think an atheist doesn't have that same feeling of what you call a soul? They just don't call it a soul, right? Like
I guess
everybody
if
feels
you
the
can tell me
self.
as
I can't say that word. Sorry.
okay, no, that's fine. I just feel like it's to me it's oh, how do I put this? It's
Well,
such
can
a
I ask you this real
narrow
fast?
such a
Like
narrow view of feeling
one
like this is it.
1 second though.
Yeah.
If we're building a society, right? Because that's my whole point to all of this is that whatever society we're going to build involves all of these people, regardless. Because I am not a person that says we should just destroy anyone. So, in the world that I imagine in the future, when we talk about a utopia, it's going to involve believers and non believers, right? So, would you rather a society of people that can admit they're wrong or people that know they're right?
Okay, I think that the people that quote unquote know they're right are poison in any of these categories. Because it could be the same bully situation where the non-believer is telling the believer, you're stupid for believing this. And you're weak-minded because you have to have a higher power as your authority, or many other things
Yeah,
that can be said.
to be fair, I think there's nice ways of saying all of those things. So, well, I really mean that. Like, there's a nice way to call somebody ignorant, because stupid is different to me. Stupid would be you are willingly and you know a lot of other things, and you're choosing to do opposite. So, excuse me. I'm not saying that everybody is stupid, but I am saying that you don't know what you don't know, or you don't know what you're allowed to know. Yeah, I don't even know how to word that. You don't know what you're not allowed to know. So with a lot of religious things, it's just like the doctrine says you have to believe this one thing. You literally aren't allowed to think any other way. And I think that causes the progression to where at the end of the day, you are unwilling to change what you believe because changing one thing starts the whole domino effect. And now your whole belief system is destroyed. So, once again,
I'd
like
say
I'm
that
repeating
that belief
myself.
system
Go ahead. Yeah.
is not built on a strong foundation then.
But isn't that a lot of and I'm going to stick to the Abrahamic religion, like Quran and Christians, that's a lot of their thinking. Is that
So
they can't defend it because it's so extraordinary, by the way. It's so extraordinary. I even understand why you can't defend it because it's so crazy. But they choose to defend it anyways.
so
Like
I
how
think
do you
that
believe how do you prove that Jesus was born from a virgin?
so here's the thing, that's where any faith comes into play. I mean, I don't know that you can prove that because somebody had an appendicitis because some crazy person in New Orleans stuck a pin through a voodoo doll. I mean, that coincidence can't be proven. I mean, there's no way to
Right,
prove
right. But so we should
any
say that that person
ridiculous
should
or
not be convicted,
non-ridiculous.
right? That person should not
Right,
be
well,
convicted. I hope.
so, but I think that because faith is such a personal thing, and even a familial thing, because as Buck would say, he believes what he believes because that's what his influence was as a kid in his culture. Um, so so therefore assess all the time if that is right or wrong, because am I just being influenced by my environment, or am I actually um coming to this belief on my own? So I mean, that's something that is constant discussion. But I think that if you trust God, okay, so we're talking about God here. I
well,
trust
we're
that
talking
God
about
has,
in schools, though.
okay, right, I know, but so in school, I have to say, if I trust God with my child
Okay.
and my child hears something other than what I believe, and that influences them to make choices, and I believe that my God has control over influence and my child's uh awakening, if you will, I guess would be a word. Then do I trust that God has that? Because I don't think that I can do God's work. I don't think that I can save someone's soul.
So are you saying
I
the
I
fact
can
that
throw
God's in
down.
control, that the parents of these children that I'm talking about that might cause problems should not even be causing problems?
Well, that's right. They shouldn't be causing problems if they believe that God is in control.
But what we
It's
see
not.
is,
It's not their job.
we see Christians and people that believe some of these things going into politics and changing laws off of those things, right? So I think we're going back to why an atheist might be afraid of something like this, is that there is no objectivity when it comes to Christian beliefs. Like, you're not going to think the other side can be correct. So once you get into the school system, you now get into politics because politics kind of is a part of the school system. And then that graduates up to where now I look at our Supreme Court and they're super religious, and you can tell by how they vote. And unfortunately, you may be different, your husband may be different, most religious people are not able to separate themselves from their religion. So just like what we see with the Supreme Court, they almost always vote on what you would predict for their religions. And that's, I think, the domino effect that the atheists would be afraid of. And I don't think there's an equal domino effect for what the Christians would be afraid from the atheists from, right? Like, let's just say atheists took over. I don't see the same problems. I think atheists would still allow just people to have religions and shit. If religious people take over, you're no longer allowed to have atheism.
I think that part of the revolution of the United States was to try and I think that it was try to allow for those kinds of freedoms at home, and I don't think that it belongs in legislation. I think that you can't, I say this all the time, you can't legislate morality. You can make something that we all agree is immoral illegal and then punishable by law. And some of that might even coincide with rules of certain religions. For example, thou shalt not kill and murder is against the law, and those coincide. But I
Yeah,
don't
I
think
think that's
I don't
a normal law, by the way.
right. But I'm
Okay.
just saying that I think that if you're in government, um, you're making laws and defending laws. I don't think that religion should be part of that. I think that a lot of people right now are saying that we're a Christian country because of our demographic from the beginning to now, is more Christians than others because majority. However, I don't think that the founding fathers of our current society wanted to
A religious, yeah. They obviously
excommunicate
didn't want it.
atheists. But I mean, I don't think they wanted to. I don't think they wanted it to be harder for an atheist
No, they didn't want it to be
to
harder
own a business.
for any belief.
Right, exactly. And so I think so that is the beauty of the American experiment and the idea of
Well,
it,
okay, but
and
hold on,
where we
real,
have
real
gone
fast.
away.
But my point is that the problem is what we see is when actual religious people start getting in charge, they don't do that. They are
Right, and I
incapable
think,
of doing that.
but I think the problem is then then we're and maybe that's what's going on in our current situation is that we're not unbiased, and we should be adhering to the laws, not our personal opinions on any other. It's a black and white thing. Is this against the law? Yes or no? Enforce the law.
Right, but the main how we got onto this part of the discussion was the fact that I was saying that it seems that Christians can't handle the pressure like others can. So when we're putting these things into school, it might cause more problems because the Christians can't handle pressure.
Maybe, but I think that if we don't teach people how to be tolerant of each other when they're 15 years old, then you can't expect anything to change going forward.
I mean, we probably might be in agreement there. I think there's going to be some hard times ahead.
Yeah.
And I think we have to keep pressuring people to be able to handle these things. And I don't know. I said
I don't
from,
either, and
I don't know what's
I'm
going to
gonna
happen.
jump out. But it was good to talk to you.
Oh, awesome too. Yeah. Thank you, Gwen.
Okay,
All right. Have a good one.
you too.
All right. Bye. All right. All right. That was a nice conversation, for real. No joke. So I appreciate that. Much respect. It is a conversation that's going to have to be had because, as I've stated before, nobody's getting rid of anybody. So these Supreme Court people that are Christians and government people that are Christians that think they're going to get rid of everybody that's not a Christian, that's stupid. Um, there hasn't really been a atheist government or anything, so it's hard to say it on the other side. But I would be saying this if there was some atheist government. I would be saying you're not going to get rid of the Christians either. So throughout history, it's never worked. We have to find a way to build a society with both things existing, and the only way I think that is possible is by recognizing that the other people are going to believe what they believe, but as a group we need to say that if we're making laws or we're making codes, that religion and beliefs that aren't provable are not allowed when we're making those laws or codes. That's the only kind of thing I can think of. But the only group that I see having a problem with that, unfortunately, are the religious people. And that's because you believe that what you believe is saving you from hell or taking you to heaven. There's no way for you to have that belief and to be able to be non-biased, right? And I would love to hear somebody say that that's possible, but I don't think you can think that your consequence is hell and still be non-biased. I don't think that's possible. But thanks again for the call, Gwen. Hope you call again. It was nice talking to you. All right, who's next? You guys did it. You kept me here longer, by the way. I told my wife earlier today, I was like, yeah, we're just gonna do like a 30-minute stream. She's like, she just looked at me. So I just do a 30-minute stream. Like I said, if somebody calls in, I'm down to talk. I could talk all day if people are willing. I have a Patreon that I set up. I'm gonna figure out what I want to do with it, by the way, because once you get monetized, you start getting all those advertisements for other things. But I don't know what I want to do with my Patreon yet, but I want it to be something that is worthwhile. So thinking about that. I know that seemed random, but I just had this pop-up come up on one of my screens. Finish setting up your Patreon. So I need to do that as well. But we are hitting about almost a 2-hour mark. So got about 10 more minutes. Excuse me, guys. Anybody has a last minute thing they want to talk about? Okay, but it's a fight, man. It's a back and forth fight. And it's something, what I want people to recognize is there are some religious people that don't recognize that some people that don't believe what you believe are kind of on your side, and vice versa, the other way too. So I'm trying to allow a space where Christians can be honest and not feel like they lost their religion. And then, of course, the atheists, and just the atheists anyway. But the atheist person should be allowed to ask you questions, because just as in this scenario, real fast, if you're a believer and you truly have the answer and you could save somebody, why wouldn't you want to talk and have a honest conversation with the other person or the other side? Like, I don't know. I don't see a problem with it. And it's just one of those things where people have to learn that they can be honest and not go to hell. Unfortunately, a lot of those religions teach you that you cannot be honest or you will go to hell. And that's part of the problem. Well, that's my point. I don't think Christians are allowed to be honest because the book doesn't let you. Or sorry, certain Christians. Because what is a Christian, by the way? There's people that think they're Christians that other Christians say that they're not Christians. So kind of hard to say as well. All right, let's look up some more Steam games. Let's see. All right, so I have Farthest Frontier. I have that on my list now. You have till July 8th, July 9th to decide. So I'll look into that one. I'm going to put that on my wish list. What other Steam games you guys got? And of course, if somebody else wants to hop in and have a last chat, you're welcome to as well. Let's find Weeping Spirit, a Steam game, since she doesn't play Weeping Spirit. All right, Buck, take care. We're almost done too. And then you guys won't see me till Monday. Be sure to go watch the new video that came out today, please. It helps me out, obviously. I mean, you guys should enjoy it too. I mean, I hope you guys enjoy my content. So, and if you don't, yeah, it is what it is. Funny, Nightbot heard me because it said, request the latest video. All right, last chance to get your Steam games in. What you think? I got one that's right on point, like simulation games. Right now, I'm on like a simulation kick. I have a Quest 3, right? Whatever the latest Quest is. I wish I played it more. The kids play it sometimes, but at one point when you first get it, of course you play it a lot. And then now I don't. I feel so crappy about it. It is what it is. I think excuse me. I actually think the big show's getting ready to start soon. So you guys might see me in there if you go watch the line. I forgot who's coming on, but I'll probably be in there. I don't chat too much, but I know they're about to start. So we'll go ahead and end for now. I definitely appreciate you calling in, Gwen. Thank you guys for stopping in and just hanging out with me. Yeah. As always, I'm Jay. Don't forget to throw away your feelings, open your minds, and question your beliefs. I will see you guys Monday. Peace.